Okay, guys, it is that time of the day. Time to talk about all of the Tesla news updates for today. Guys, let me just say right now, stock market was pretty volatile today. So when we're looking at Tesla right now, Tesla is down by about 3 to 4% so far for the day. Market is almost closed. Just as a frame of reference as well, Apple is down by 5.55%. So again, market feeling a bit of turmoil, a little bit of fluctuation. Think we had some consumer price numbers earlier today. We'll talk about Tesla stock a little bit later on, but I did want to go ahead and bring that up in case you guys were going, well, this is wild. It feels like a wild day. Well, okay, I think that this is something that is worth noting. We've seen quite a bit of volatility, especially relating to inflation, relating to all that stuff. But what I really want to focus on today, we've got a handful of massive updates we've got to talk about, okay? We've got, first of all, a hint again that a really, really cheap electric car could be on the near horizon. Now, I have said a number of times that I personally think that when electric cars are consistently cheaper than ICE cars, gas or diesel cars, that is when EV adoption will majorly sweep ICE adoption. And I'm gonna move the microphone really quick. Oh, there we go, it creaks a lot. And then I don't even think it's gonna be a contest. I think that really we're gonna be looking at a world where, this is seriously dominated by EVs. But anyway, we've got a big hint on that coming up in a little bit. Update for Gigafactory Berlin, and lots of exciting stuff. So seriously, stay tuned, do not miss a minute. I wanna say right now, hey, if you guys are coming back for another video, I am working on more footage, so that's super exciting. I'm always thrilled to be doing that. So hopefully you guys noticed that a little bit. Working on making the audio a little bit better as well, adjusting a couple of things. Dropping the video like is so appreciated. I gotta say that right now. If you guys want to go ahead and show your support, let's aim for 150 likes on this. Go ahead and do that if you haven't yet. And share with people also that are interested in the Twitter deal between Musk and Twitter itself, because that is perhaps unsurprisingly what we're going to talk about first and foremost. Now, I will say right now that deal is still really hanging in the balance. Now, we've got updates that are really substantial, okay? We've got updates that a Twitter whistleblower could be making a very serious appearance. I believe there's actually discussion about a whistleblower possibly appearing in front of like Congress, okay, which is a very big deal. That's huge. It's Peter Mudge, Zatko. We've got a very close eye on that as well. Seems like they've subpoenaed Zatko. Whistleblower complaints against Twitter is what we're looking at there. But the board of Twitter shareholders, pardon me, not the board per se. Twitter shareholders have now voted for Elon Musk to buy the company. They've approved the buyout. Now, let's take a look at Twitter really quick. Twitter stock, TWTR, that's what we're looking at here. Price right now, $41.80 per share, roughly. I believe the buyout is still sitting in the neighborhood of like $50 per share, right? And that, again, is something that would take the company private. So it's a very, very different motivation, but one that is certainly noteworthy nonetheless, right? And I really do think that is very much something we have to think about, right? Taking it private would be a very different operation, but that's what Musk could potentially be looking at. And a lot of people are saying, hey, buy Twitter, go ahead, we want to get a good price. Well, okay, when it comes down to it, that's not really a surprise, right? Again, so that still kind of hangs in the balance. Musk is pushing for that not to happen. There are a couple of different comments from Musk about Zatko, about possibly secret clients, and there's a whole lot of discussion. But Elon Musk also changed his Twitter handle to Nautius Maximus. Now, Musk did tweet about the fantastic HBO series, Rome, by the way. I'm a big fan of that show myself. I think it was entirely too short, but I suppose to a certain extent, sometimes that's good, because the show is fondly remembered instead of being driven into, 50 seasons of, essentially turning into a soap opera. But anyway, Nautius Maximus, aka Elon Musk, tweeted and said, "My tweets are being suppressed. Now, he also changed his bio to Centurion in Jerusalem Garrison. Okay, so again, Musk just kind of, talking about some stuff, having a bit of fun on Twitter. Naughtius Maximus continues here and says, please fix at Twitter at verified at Parag A. Now that's Twitter, okay. 62.9 million followers. Then we've got Twitter verified, 4 million followers. And then we've got Parag Agrawal, CEO of Twitter, 610.9 thousand followers. Guys, that's pretty big, okay? He is directly calling them out. He's saying, hey, guys, wake up. This is an issue. You want me to buy the company so much. Why aren't you thinking of this? Okay, it's really wild stuff. Anyway, let's move on. Elon Musk tweeted and said Rome show is underappreciated. Not a surprise there. We just talked about that. He also continued on and said, and this is something he first brought up yesterday, but yesterday he said, and I quote, won't be long before we view gasoline cars the same way we view steam engines today. Then he continued and said the residual value of gasoline cars bought today will be much lower than people think. So again, a bit of a hint there that electric vehicles could be the standard in the future and gas vehicles could lose a great deal of their value. Anyway, I thought that was really interesting, and that's something I did want to focus in on a little bit more, okay? Because there is that sort of debate of, are we going to be moving in the direction of a majority of EVs? Is that something that's going to happen? Well, we're going to talk about cheaper EVs a little bit later on. I will say right now, one of the core benefits of less expensive EVs is, well, eventually you get, a serious market push where ICE cars just aren't worth as much, especially if EVs are less expensive in terms of initial price. Anyway, so yeah, I think Elon Musk here is very much on point. I completely agree with what he is saying. Now, guys, and also, just by the way, quick update. Twitter, that update was important, okay? That's something we're really looking at. Anyway, moving on to an update from Inside EVs and Lucid. Now, Lucid Motors has now stated that they are looking at making between 40 and 50 cars per day after logistics. Now, they're also looking at an executive overhaul here, and in my honest opinion, Lucid is still pretty expensive, okay? And Lucid, and I want to say this right now, is still pretty niche, okay? And Lucid being so niche generally means, especially with their current output, that the numbers overall are going to be lower. Now, here's the thing. I do not have a problem with that. I think that Lucid and Tesla can coexist. Here's what I find funny. People for so long, right, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this, have said, well, Lucid's going to put Tesla out of business, right? How many times have we heard that with Lucid, with Rivian, even with Aptera, with GM, VW? The list goes on and on, okay? Tesla is going to be put out of business by Lucid. And here's the thing. Lucid is now saying that they're planning on making between 40 and 50 cars per day. That is not the kind of manufacturing strength that will put Tesla out of business, okay? Tesla right now is a powerhouse, and I appreciate that Lucid and other companies would like to perform in a similar way. However, I do not think that that is something that realistically is going to be happening anytime soon, and I think that there are good reasons to really talk about that, okay? One of the primary points of reason is simply manufacturing power and a lack of experience with EVs. We've got to remember Tesla started making EVs when they were not popular, okay? Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and move on now to for any fans of Steam out there. I'm sure you guys are going to appreciate this. Let's talk about an update for Steam integration with Tesla vehicles. Now, Naughtius Maximus, or Elon Musk, replied to Tesla Hype on Twitter, and Tesla Hype said, any updates on Steam integration? Now, Musk responded here and said, and I quote, I'm testing it today in Palo Alto. Okay, so again, it's really noteworthy there. Steam integration for Teslas, and I want to make this abundantly clear, it's not something that needs to happen per se, okay? But it is something that, again, is a good approach, right? You want Tesla making this kind of thing a priority because it again, really lends itself to further innovation. Anyway, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk also now about radar and high-res radar sensors. Now, high-res radar sensors have appeared in the Tesla parts catalog. Now, this was something, there's the loud vehicle so far for today. I'm sure that won't be the last one. Anyway, that always happens. Green the Only brought this up, okay, and shared an indication that high-res radar sensors are appearing in the Tesla parts catalog. Now again, so many people will look at this and they'll say, well, I thought Elon Musk was getting rid of radar. I thought he was doing Tesla vision only. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, that is what we're looking at so far. I want to be perfectly honest with you guys, okay? And I think that, again, this is something that really matters. Yeah, I mean, he said that. He's looking at that. But realistically, if Elon Musk finds a sort of ultra radar or super radar technology that greatly enhances full self-driving, I have no doubt that he's going to use it, okay? Elon Musk has admitted that he's been wrong before. He's very humble when it comes down to it, and I think that really that's a huge consideration. So yeah, he's talked about a pure vision approach, but ultimately, it doesn't really matter that much. If he decides that there's going to be a radar breakthrough or radar is going to be much better, I think he's going to prioritize it, okay? Anyway, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about an update for Tesla Superchargers, and not just any Superchargers. Let's talk about an update for V4 Superchargers, okay? Now, Marco, RP Tesla, has shared an update of what could be the first V4 Supercharger station in Yuma County. Now, this is Arizona, and yeah, I gotta say right now, there's speculation that the V4 chargers could really bring about this new era of, 350 kilowatt hours, or maybe potentially more, 350 kilowatts, I should say. Anyway, and yeah, I do not think that that's unreasonable. Now, again, this is probably pretty preliminary. Plans like this tend to move not incredibly quickly, but Tesla can make them happen pretty quickly sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it is a good update still. Really does indicate that this is going on. And V4 is, I would say, something that really is still a top priority. Guys, with that being said, now let's go ahead and move on to an update also for Tesla software. According to Not a Tesla app, now, okay, for the United States, alternate routes have been added, 2022.28.1. So Not a Tesla app shared an update on that, saying a first look at Tesla update 2022.28.1, which we now have the notes for. That's still something that's moving forward. But anyway, I want to say that right now as well. This is something that is speculated to be in that, update that we're looking at right now. But anyway, yeah, alternate routes could be something that could be very useful, right? As Tesla could just integrate that right into the navigation. Anyway, guys, with that being said, we're now hearing also, according to Teslarati, that cruise taxis are going to expand in Phoenix, or to Phoenix, and also Austin. Now, these are the autonomous taxis that we've heard about before. I will say right now they've been pretty well geo-fenced, at least for the time being. So seeing this is a worthwhile update. It's a couple of cities. It's not necessarily gigantic, but I do think it's something that is still worth talking about. Anyway, guys, with that said, now let's go ahead and move on to an update also from local sources in Germany. Now, according to BZ, Teslarati, and otherwise, Tesla could actually now be looking to start battery production at Gigafactory Berlin in Q1 of 2023. Now, let me make this very clear. This is not an insignificant update, because for the European market, those batteries are going to be a very, very big deal, okay? That is going to majorly help Tesla push forward with the wider European rollout, okay? And that could be very, very valuable. Anyway, guys, with that being said, now let's go ahead and let's move on to an update as well, okay, for a less expensive electric vehicle. Now, there has recently been a Goldman Sachs tech conference in San Francisco. And here's the thing. During this conference, Martin Viecha, who's the head of investor relations at Tesla, okay, apparently may have alluded to at this event a new, even more affordable Tesla electric vehicle. Now, again, a lot of this is pretty cloudy, okay? I'm gonna be totally honest with you, but I do think that there is a chance. I just bumped the microphone, so I apologize for that. If you heard some noise just then, that's what that was. I do think that there is a chance that this is something that is going to be a very, very serious undertaking in the next several years, okay? And I think it's going to happen a lot faster than people really understand. But Gary B on Twitter brought up an update on this and said, the most bullish message from Martin Viecha's GS presentation was that Tesla recognizes they need an affordable $30,000 to $35,000 compact EV prior to launching a Tesla robotaxi, combined with Martin's view that battery availability is no longer an issue. Now, battery availability being an issue, not being as concerned about that is certainly good, okay? Here's the thing. Martin Viecha also responded to this directly and said, and this was this morning, by the way, never said anything about prior to 2024 robotaxi platform rollout. Now, again, here's the thing. The details around this are still very cloudy. And I'm not going to say that anyone said anything super definitive for the time being, but I think that Martin Viecha's response here is telling, okay? And here's what it makes me think. It really makes me think that 2024 is going to be sort of the year for much less expensive EVs. And I'm not talking, I'm not talking a $3,000 price reduction on the Model 3 or Model Y. I think that realistically, we could be talking again, $25,000 to $30,000. Now, that's with a tax credit of $7,500 also appearing on the horizon. Okay, so realistically, when we look at that, it really is pretty interesting because it does kind of make you say, well, what are we looking at here? Okay, what price point could we be looking at? And if somebody within Tesla is talking about this, and again, it's really cloudy, it's not clear at all. But if there's even a hint of that, then I think it's a lot closer than people really understand. Again, I'm not saying that Martin Viecha is saying that this is something that, is absolutely going to happen, it's going to happen next week, nothing like that, right? I think that it's just something that really is still there at the forefront of Tesla's goal. And I think it could be a lot less dormant than people seem to think. So I want to ask you guys, what do you think about that? Let me know what your thoughts are right now. Let's move on. Let's take a look also at Tesla's stock for the day. What exactly are we looking at so far today? Tesla stock down, and this is just before market close, by the way, down by about 4%. Now, again, the market right now is having a bit of a wild day. Let's take a look at, for example, SPY. SPY is down by about 4.5% today, which is, let's just say, I don't think people are going to be thrilled with that, okay? However, the market in general, like I said, it's still seeing a lot of volatility. It is still a market that is seeing a lot of woes about inflation, seeing a lot of discussion, quantitative easing, quantitative tapering, et cetera, right? And again, that obviously has a lot of people thinking. So guys, with that being said, quick update there that I did want to go ahead and talk about. What do you guys think about all of this? Give me your thoughts and opinions, guys. Have a great one, and adios.